First, I'm going to have Colin Durante. He's going to talk about the joint bond process that he's going to be applying in, and
Everybody here that builds asphalt pavements knows that we have a problem with the longitudinal joint. I mean, it's an area that the rollers just can't get the density that we want. And so especially on our higher volume roads, generally speaking, that joint deteriorates before the rest of the road does. It's just a density problem. What we're going to try to do today is we're going to show you a method of treating a new construction joint with a maltine-based rejuvenator type product that's a penetrating product with some SBS polymer in it. And then Jack's going to show you on rumble strips or joints that deteriorate a little bit further. He uses the similar type of a maltine-based product with a little more asphaltene in it and a little aggregate. Now, the interesting problem is we're going to do that in a parking lot that's 50 years old and doesn't have a longitudinal joint. Y'all going to have to do what you do with the children when you read them a nighttime story. You say, close your eyes and try to imagine, okay? But we're going to have a monitor out there that's going to show you the process being done on an interstate, and you'll get an idea of what it looks like. Unfortunately, you're only going to see how the equipment works and maybe get a little feel for the material.
I'll jump in real quick, and like we said, where the joint bond stops, our CRF kind of takes the place on 2-plus-year-old, we'll say rumbles and center lines. Like Colin said, it's not the optimal situation, so you guys are going to have to bear with us, and we're going to spray the material. We're going to put some lime down. We use the lime to set up the material. The method that we use to put the lime normally is with a gravel shooter. It's a lot more efficient, but I didn't want to bring that gravel shooter up because we have to subcontract that portion. It was going to cost us a lot of money to bring them up. So we're going to have our sand trucks, so it's not going to be the fastest way to put the lime down, but we'll get it down. You guys will kind of see how it works. But again, you're going to have to put your imagination caps on and work with us. But you'll get to see the equipment work, kind of touch it, ask questions. Colin will have a monitor showing the joint bond process. I got a video of the put on that monitor with our gravel shooting process after we spray it. But again, this is just a way to help preserve those rumble strips or mumble strips without losing the mumble or the rumble that it makes. So,
thank you, Jack. Colin. Okay, I'm going to bring up Jim Lippert with Ergon and Crafco. They're going to talk about what they're going to be doing out there with the mastic crack filling. And if you haven't seen it, it's a very impressive system. So I'll let him explain it.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Lippert, and I'm with Crafco. Today we're going to talk and show you and demonstrate for you our mastic repair product. What is mastic? Basically, it's a polymer asphalt cement-based product that has different grades of stone in it, aggregate mixed into it. Typically, it's used for repairs on failed paving joints, wide cracks wider than 1.5 inches. Typically, those thermal cracks that you see running across the road every 30, 40-foot spacings, ideal candidates for this material. Any spalled concrete joints, corner breaks, potholes, pretty much any type of distress that's not that's greater than 1.5 inches wide up to full lane width, just below full lane width. We can use this material on. Today we're going to demonstrate a pothole repair, and like the gentleman just said, it's not ideal conditions. We might want to demonstrate a longitudinal repair with this material. It can go down very thin, basically flush with the pavement, and fill in any distresses, cracks, voids, things like that. This material goes down about 380, 400 degrees, so take caution. Do not touch the material. I would keep your distance until the material sets and cools. Usually it takes, depending on the application, about 10 to 30 minutes before we could typically get traffic on it, depending on the depth and the ambient temperature outside. So the application process involves taking a block of material, the aggregate and the binder are all included in the box, just like your crack sealant. We take that bag of aggregate and binder and throw it in the machine. It's all pre-measured and the correct ratio of binder to aggregate. And we heat it to about 380 degrees, and it's agitated inside a hybrid crack sealing machine known as a patcher or a mastic mixer. And that turns it to a liquid state. And we take the machine and we pull it over the distress or the blockout area, and we discharge it out the back gate onto the distress. And then the material is relatively self-leveling, but we will use some tools like an asphalt lute and some hot irons to manipulate and move the material around to fill the void area. And again, give it about a half an hour before you can get traffic on it before it sets, and that's pretty much it. Ask any questions during the process or before the process. I'd be happy to answer them for you. So we appreciate the time. We're anxious about getting out there and putting the material down. So.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Now, I'm going to take a couple of minutes. This is not on the schedule, but it is very important. The company I work for, we start every day, every job, every office, every shop, everything starts every day with a safety huddle. We're fixing to go into a construction site and watch these guys working. So I thought we'd have a quick one here and talk about some of the things. Now, we like to start every safety huddle with a positive safety action. So anybody out there have a positive safety action that they've noticed within the last day or so? Don't everybody speak at once. It can be from seeing somebody back up properly to seeing how the food service out here handled us last night with the bar and everything. Yes, Rob.
I think I've learned this by now. No, I was just going to point out that we have all of our cords taped down properly so nobody is tripping on them on their way up to the stage.
That is very good, and that is true. They've done a good job of making sure all the cords around here are taped down and have taken care of all the trip hazards. Now, with that being said, like I say, we're going to have a break, and when John takes us to break, and then we'll meet across the street. But what are some of the things that you think we need to look out for when we all go across there to watch these guys do these demonstrations? Traffic. Very good one.
Keeping a safe distance.
Keeping a safe distance. Anybody else?
Direction.
And I know Zach's over there waving the safety vest, and I don't know as if we have PPE for everybody that's going over there. We are going to trust that everybody here understands. If you do have safety glasses, have those. So
I did go over to the site at lunch. It's a little windy out today, so be cognizant of the wind direction. Just make sure that you are not in the line of direction of anything that's being sprayed down or applied that way.
I do have a box of hats at my booth. If somebody like me has to put something on to keep their thinker from getting sunburned, I have some of those. You're welcome to one. That's all important things. I think the main thing is these guys are out here doing their jobs and utilizing the equipment. We're actually in their way, so please be aware of where you're at. Try to stay out of the way of what they're doing. They're going to be talking and doing these things at the same time. And also that we're very careful going to and from. That was a good point about traffic. We have to cross the street. So just everybody watch out for everybody else, I think would be a good thing. And I think we'll all survive the demos. You guys did well in the safety huddle. Yes, sir.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.